Greetings and salutations, my friend. I am Jeremy Tank, and today I'm going to cover the behavioral branding process and the steps through it and how Think Tank Creative really works with you to develop an idea, a concept, a brand identity, websites and marketing. This video is really to help explain to you what the 3 steps are: my power story, creative alignment, and behavioral branding, and how this process moves from one stage right into the next, so that as we work together, you get the appropriate amount, the reasonable amount of research and professional thinking that goes into your solutions for your visual user journey branding experience, right? You don't want to spend too much money on something that is untested. So you want to make sure that there is plenty of research to ground whatever's going on. And there are plenty of, I'll go ahead and get into this and do a screen share. There are plenty of designers and yeah, there we go, that's the file. Plenty of designers and plenty of people out there who really, I don't know, they don't do a lot of research when doing the work. They really design for themselves, they market for themselves, they come up with a clever idea, and then they try to sell it to you as the customer who's coming up with things. A lot of logo designers say, you know, I don't have to do things by the rules, I don't have to pay attention, I just do the things for my clients and they pay me to do that. And there's not a lot of research that goes into that. It's just sort of, you know, their professionalism is what you're trusting to get the job done. And sometimes when it hits the market, it feels good, and sometimes it really doesn't. It's kind of a miss. And customers are the ones that make that determination, right? It's hard to know what's going to happen. And as a business person, looking at this very first slide, as a business person, you're often saying, you know, how do I show you that my product, my service, my idea, my business, my whatever it is I'm doing is worthwhile, right? Because we're trying to show value. We're trying to demonstrate that when somebody has a problem, we know how to solve it. I've worked in corporate design, corporate marketing, corporate advertising for over 20 years. So my brain, my skill set, my expertise is actually in helping large corporations, meaning like between 100 and 300 people, create brands, create products, create packaging, create websites that actually drive engagement, drive leads, drive sales, right? That's what I'm used to doing. So I'm taking that skill set and kind of turning around and saying, anybody who's not here, you know, I want to help you demonstrate your value through marketing, through design, through advertising, through branding, so that the people on the other side of this arrow, the bunch of people who could be your audience, are drawn to you. And that's really what design and marketing is all about, is getting people interested, getting them to lean in, getting to someone to listen to what you have to say. And the challenge really is that for most businesses, when they start going, you know, it's a testing and learning phase, and it's a whole bunch of marketing. People generally start with marketing. They think, okay, I just have to tell enough people what I'm all about. But not everybody sees the world the way that you do. Not everybody sees the problems or the challenges that you solve the way that you do. I have a lot of experience creating brands and designs, packaging, websites that all flow cohesively together, that all match and feel like they belong in the same universe, to the same family of items. And working with some marketers and in the past, I'm just going to tell you that this testing and learning meant that projects would go out to a few dozen different talented people, and all of them came back with different directions. And that meant that when the businesses were going out and testing and trying to learn what works, it was really, really difficult, because starting with marketing, starting with all the marketers, there's not a lot of cohesion going on and being presented to the world. So I'm actually trying to flip that script a little bit with this presentation, with what I'm sharing with you, in that let's not start with the marketing. Marketing is like walking into a room and then having everybody look at you and you feeling your value based on whatever judgment is in their eyes when they look at you, right? It's like that old scene from whatever movie or TV show when somebody walks into a bar and everybody turns and looks at them, and it's kind of a scary thing if you're the person that just walked in. Well, that's what marketing like this testing and learning phase, that's what it's like, is just judging your own value based on what the world says, because they may not be used to someone like you. So I'm flipping this on its head. I'm saying, you know what? Let's start with branding. Who are you? Who do you want to be? What is your business? What is it about? What are the values that you are bringing to the equation? What is the foundation of what you are doing? What do you want to accomplish? There is a huge amount of this that becomes part of your story, right? Who you are, how you think, how you approach the world. So the way I look at it is, look, let's grab that. So you know who you are, you understand your identity, you understand what's going on. And then you take that entire story and match that, because that knowing that story is also knowing who your customers are and how to help them and what they need and their emotional pain points, right? And when we take that and move that into marketing, it's much easier. There's a smoother ride that is actually testable, because you can take those theories, those ideas, we call them hypotheses, right? I believe that if we approach this market with this message, then we are more likely to see the goals, the increases in sales and leads and all those things that we want based on our branding. So this is my mindful cycle. It is just turning the clock back and starting with branding and the idea that the foundation of what you want to be and become is a stronger point of beginning than marketing alone. So here's the 3 steps in Think Tank Creative's process. And they are my power story, creative alignment, and behavioral branding. And each step moving forward builds on the last step. And it has to work that way, because people who decide, oh, I need a logo, are jumping right into behavioral branding, deciding, what something should look like, what something should say, without understanding what the foundation of it is. But if we go back to my power story and really find a brand's purpose, right? This is brand strategy. You're strategizing how that brand, how that business, how that product, how that idea affects the world and the avenues that it takes to get there, the path that it takes. It is super clarifying, because one-on-one, when we work together, it's just probing your mind in a way that from an individual out, you can't tell what you're missing, but you know the answers, but you can't tell where the connections are, the bridges are that puts everything together. So when we're working together, whether it's one-on-one or one in a group, if it's your management team or gosh, I love working with teams, because everybody has a different perspective. And when they come together in alignment, it's really motivating and moves things forward. So we take that and we build this great story, and then we move into creative alignment, where we add research, right? Competitive research, trend analysis. We are developing personas and avatars to make sure that the look and the feel of the brand matches what you want to show to the market, matches something that they respond to. Going back to that like Western kind of walking into the bar metaphor, if you walk into a ballroom full of salespeople and you're wearing a toga and they're all in 3-piece suits, you're going to look kind of funny. If that was marketing, then you're going to get laughed out of the market, right? You want to look and feel appropriate for your customers, appropriate for your market. And that's part of making sure that the research is sound, making sure that the visualization, how your brand looks and acts, the entire personality of it is sound for what you're trying to accomplish and who you're trying to accomplish it for. And then the last step, behavioral branding, is really taking all of that stuff, the words and the pictures that drive everything, and creating a system around it. A lot of people who are solopreneurs, entrepreneurs that are really mostly in their own little world of what they do, they talk to me and they say, Jeremy, I am my brand, and that's all that really matters. And that's great. But what happens when you want to scale past you? How do we systemize you? How do we create you and capture in a way that you can just hand that off to other marketers, writers, videographers, all these different talents, trade show people, and they represent you in a way that is true and honest and expressive and fun, right? That's what that's all about, because then you can build all of your marketing that is aligned with what you're trying to accomplish and what you're trying to build in your brand. So I'm just going to walk through each of these 3 stages And I'm going to give you some examples of clients that I've worked with over the last few years where we have done that stage or that stage and the next stage. I'll show you when we get there. And I'll give you examples of what that looks like as far as utilizing the knowledge, the insights we gain at each stage to take the next steps for what they need. So the first one is my power story. And my power story is that it's all about storytelling. It's about coming up with why you are different and being able to express that to your audience, your customer, with the right words. And it's just sharing your value with the right words. Now, in marketing terms, this would be market positioning, differentiation, customer avatars, archetypes, and value propositions. And that's a bunch of fancy words to just say, look, how do I communicate to somebody who needs what I sell? And so this is really thinking about your customer as a one-on-one person, right? As a real person. And in our process, this is what it looks like. I'm sure if you're watching this video, you may have seen this graphic on my website, on LinkedIn, on Facebook, on any of the social media, because this is the process, right? This is my power story. It's just getting clear about your ideal audience. 3 steps: get clear about your ideal audience, focus on tasks that drive action, because action will create clarity of what's working. That action part, that's marketing. So we're determining right here, basically a marketing plan for you, right? Who's your audience? What can you do to reach them? And then using a story to grab attention. So we need to define the goals of your story. What is the user journey you want people to go through? And then figuring out the right words, right? Words are so super important to how we perceive your business, your brand, your products, your ideas. Using the right words, framing it in a really great story moves things forward. That's how it works. So let me give you a quick example. I did some work with the Veteran team, who is a real estate office up here in Everett, just outside of Seattle. And the attributes we came up with a great story for them. They love it. They loved everything we were working with. And the attributes, the values, the foundation of what they really wanted to portray was dedicated, welcoming veterans, because that's really who they were targeting as their specific audience, positive, confident, relatable, familiar, and prioritized. They really wanted to share that they work with veterans to find them homes that are reasonable, that they are, frankly, the owner of the company is a veteran. So he's just like super about supporting veterans and prioritizing them in his life to make sure they feel cared for and just welcomed to a community. And the idea, the concept behind the brand identity, he wanted my power story. He didn't want to go into the research and things. He said, I'm not there yet in my business. But he bought a brand identity package so that after we got done with my power story, I designed this logo and some of these extra things that you're going to see to match the story, to really drive his business forward. And what we came upon was the idea of like something to do with houses, something that is really America first, very patriotic. And then he definitely wanted a logo symbol that was circular, sort of like the military sigils. And we looked at a whole bunch of them together to make sure, what was in the right vein for him. And what we came up with is this, which is a really fun, frankly, it's a patch. It's a beautiful logo patch that works really well on a lot of different things for him. Each of the stars represents different arms of the armed forces, and including Coast Guard and a couple other positions that we talked about. Of course, we've got the eagle in the house and some other things leading into it, and the veteran team, real big and strong on there. And then I just really love to demonstrate when I'm doing these brand identities, here's what it looks like as a stamp. Here's what it looks like in different ways. And I came up with some shirts and some clothing for him. And he actually went and produced these. I didn't work with him for that, but he took the logo and he said, I love the ideas. I'm going to go ahead and make those. He made some hoodies. He made some raincoats, some shirts. And the logo is just, it works in so many different ways because we designed it to work big and small, be very clean and readable. I saw him actually the other day, and he had his big old pickup truck had a magnet on it that was just this big old logo. It looked awesome. So cool. And some drinkware. You can see all the different color variations, white and white and pure black. We designed this so that it functioned in any way he could possibly need it. And that's, that's the design side of me. I have my master's degree in design. I have an undergrad degree in design. Whenever I'm working through this stuff, it's just like when I worked in the advertising field, I think through every application of the logo as I design it, as I'm like trying to figure out where this might show up. I want to make sure it gets maximum sight. So the next step in the process is creative alignment. And creative alignment is very much about research and making sure that your business pretty much gets like the first call advantage, because the words and the pictures are aligned with your audience and what they want. And what happens is that when we talk to people, when we communicate, it's a one-on-one conversation. So my power story is the start, because that's the words that you communicate with. When we start to communicate with a broader audience, you start to grow your business. And so you have to talk to lots of different types of people. You can use the same words and it feels as if you're talking one-to-one with your audience, but you have to sort of play with the pictures in a way that your audience feels drawn to the picture, like it's familiar, but it's different just enough. And so the pictures become a very important part. And those are really the two things that perceptively humans pick up on, is the words and the pictures. So in a marketing sense, for those of you that really like that, this is market positioning, differentiation, customer avatars, archetypes, value proposition, action insights. So that starts to get into more of that marketing plan, a little bit deeper into marketing plan, actually. We explore differentiation. So we're seeing what other people do and making sure that you stand out from that. And then we make sure that all of that is aligned with the business goals. The pictures reinforce the business goals. You don't want to show somebody a picture that is just outside of your bounds as a business, because it contrasts too much with what you're trying to accomplish. And then we develop a big picture idea of what that looks like to move to actually start design, to start whatever it is you need next. And the process for that is basically the same. I'm not going to go into this a whole bunch, but it involves, getting clear about the ideal audience, focusing on tasks that drive action, again, that marketing plan, observing and analyzing your market. And that includes trends and big players and what they're doing and how they're working. That is a big time strategy thing. That's marketing strategy, that's creative strategy, that's business strategy and brand strategy. Sort of all that has to flow together to make sure that your, whatever it is you're doing, stands out. And because of that, we can create a first call advantage. It's literally locking in like an anchor to your audience's memories, so that they go, oh yeah, I really want to hire that guy, or I really want that service, right? And then it's showing you through that big picture that I talked about, how to align all of the experiences, your customer experience, your user experience, your VR, AR experience, like we're talking about that stuff these days, right? Your meta experience. And just to give you a sample of what that looks like, my client Amber, she went through the creative alignment process to figure out how she could get a book cover that functioned well on Kindle and a few different platforms for her first novel that she was writing. And we went through this entire process and did a lot of research and positioning to figure out who her audience is and what that should really look like, how to market her book. We came up with a lot of ideas about what that marketing might look like. And this was the ultimate cover that we designed with her. And, it's whoops, too far ahead. It's a nice cover. It's beautiful. It stands out, especially compared to other books on a bookcase. That was one of the tests we did. I printed this out and put it on a cover and took it to Barnes & Noble and kind of just stuck it in with the shelves to see, does this stand out from other books on a shelf? Will it catch attention? And, I love to say, yes, it does. Yes, it does. Kraken's Cup. This is another one. Valley's the owner of Kraken's Cup. All these people are my friends. I feel like when I work with my clients long enough, they're my friends. Like, it's the first name advantage, right? And what she wanted was, she had this idea that she wanted for her tea shop that she was creating. She wanted an octopus holding a teacup, and that was what she wanted as the logo. That was right off the bat. She said, this is what I want. I've hired other designers. I've hired illustrators. I have hired other people, and they can't deliver. So Jeremy, what do we need to do? I want this to happen. So I put her through the creative alignment process, making sure to research everybody that she was up against and her entire market and her audience and all of that. And I said, you know what? You've got a great concept. There's nobody else doing anything like this where you are. And what you're looking at right here is a one color version of it. And let's see, we developed an entire brand system around this. It kind of goes a little bit into behavioral branding, but we didn't do all of that stuff with her. We just sort of developed kind of like the veterans team where we had the shirts and things. We developed some concepts that she can start building into it, including a to-go bag and a tea tin. And let's see, what else do we have? Oh yeah, the shirts. The shirts were great. The shirts were so much fun. She actually ended up producing several of these and offering them to her current clients and her future clients on her website as a way to grow funds. Pandemic, right? We're always thinking of alternative ways for a business to keep getting customers. She's got a real strong social media presence, so she's leveraging that through items like that. And then, of course, we showed her some of this advertising and marketing. What can we do with that? How much fun can we have when we start really playing with that Kraken and playing with the illustrations and doing something fun that stands out and is really unique for her market? So that was my power story. That was like the veteran team going through all that, and creative alignment. Understand that everybody starts with my power story. Everything starts there because we have to understand your brand purpose. This is like a foundational thing. We have to get you set on your identity on an internal way of looking at it, right? What am I about? What am I trying to accomplish? What is my purpose? What are my goals? What is my vision? What is my mission? Right? And then we can say, now that I know me, what is the outside world doing? So we can create something unique that stands out, that is really functional for that. And the next one is behavioral branding. So what is really behavioral branding? I love behavioral branding because it's taking all of this and saying, how do we apply this to help a company transform and grow? And that's really, when we look at this, that's what it is. It's transformation. When you grow to a certain point in your business, and maybe you are there now, maybe you are yet to be there, but you know it when you hit there. Because when you start growing to there, you see you have an audience, you have customers, things are fairly stable, and stable in business is not good. Stable in business means that other people are catching up with where you are, and you start to hit a plateau. And when you hit a plateau or even start to dip, that's the time that you need to say, what am I doing now that needs to be different tomorrow? Who do I want to be 3 years from now, 1 year from now? And how do I start to transform into that? Because we need to create a path for your growth from this smaller market to a much larger market to enable you to keep growing. And sometimes that can be simply systemizing your brand in case you want to open, I don't know, I think of Valley and I'm like, okay, maybe she needs to open another location. So she wants to systemize everything about her brand so that another location gets it right and expands that audience. Maybe she wants to shift a little bit to apply what she's doing to a broader audience, and not being so specific. Every brand starts very specific and small and grows over time. And transformation, brand transformation, is one of the main movement mechanisms that really expands that growth. And so if you're talking marketing terms again, lost it. There we go. This is creating a brand. I'm reading the bottom line here, creating a brand expression system, creating a marketing campaign, right? Funnels and social media. There's a whole bunch more that goes into that. It's creating all the things that are aligned with the brand foundation, the brand goals, everything that you want to build to apply to that slightly larger audience and a growth audience. And I just keep zipping through some of these. So this is really what this breaks down to, is what I've shown you before. It's getting clear on the brand's purpose, designing the branded connection, that is doing research and aligning what you want your branded connection to be, and then sharing the branded expression through your marketing, through your brand goals, through PR, through all the different expressions. Maybe it's just an experience. People step into your shop. Maybe you're creating an app and you need that experience to feel cohesive. So the big thing is that it's very simple, 3 steps, but we have to start with the brand and the customer. We have to understand that we have to start someplace that is, understanding from the business side of it, here's what you want the brand to be, here's the foundation, and here's the customers, because we can take that information and we move that then into what we call a creative brief, or the idea, the plan of what we want to do. And that creates the marketing, that creates the funnels, that creates the experiences that we are doing. And all of that then moves into the brand expression, the logo, identity, print, packaging, social media, web, video, copywriting, UI design, apps, you name it. That's all the stuff that the customers see, but it's all based in the marketing, the funnels. It's all based in the brand, the customers. So they build on one another. And when we do it this way, it's like a brand bridge right to the customers. It really holds up. So let me go ahead and show you a few examples of where I've used this process, this same exact way. Bartender, this was a 5-year employment by Bartender by Siegel Scientific, where I worked for them to revamp their logo, revamp their brand identity, revamp their advertising, the marketing, the way they did things, complete identity rewrite. And I worked in-house with them, really developing a lot of this stuff, including, there we go, all the print pieces, tons and tons of sales sheets in 23 different languages, a lot of internal campaigns. That's where we got to have some fun and kind of break from our systems a little bit. But really, my team there implemented some fantastic brand identity guidelines and structures that really, most of this feels like it belongs to the same place, right? Maybe the little skeleton here doesn't, but even him, he does, and it feels like it belongs. And that's because of the systems we implemented. And because of all of that, this guy became the president of the company. They got a whole bunch more locations. Everything became really branded and cohesive as an experience for this company in the course of a very short amount of time. And let me give you another one here. This is Dr. Carrie Logan. We developed her brand identity, her marketing messaging, her concept for what her brand looks like as it approaches everything. We helped her build this website, social media campaigns. You see, it all ties in. When your brand foundation is solid and the research in the middle is solid, the positioning is solid, then everything kind of ties in and follows. You did some physical products here and packaging. And so everything flows one to the next, and it feels familiar, and it feels like it belongs together, and it feels like one reinforces the other. And that is the point of fantastic branding, is that everything feels consistent and cohesive, tied together as a family. So as you're doing products, as you're thinking about this stuff, that's the ultimate goal. And it takes a lot of forethought to think about all the different places and all the different ways that your brand shows up. So I'm just going to scroll back here a little bit. Here. So that's what it looks like. It's My Power Story is the very start. And that is the process where everybody starts, because we have to figure out your brand purpose. If then you're like, I want a logo or I want a website, then we can do that. But there's no guarantee that your audience is really going to be drawn to it. Because when we do that research, when we do that alignment and figuring out the pictures that go with those words, that's all in creative alignment. That's all really come up with the big picture of here's how everything should look and tie in. And then if you say, you know what, I need the entire package. I want it all to match. I want it all to be systemized. I want growth. I want funnels. I want videos. I want all of that stuff. That's behavioral branding. That is taking everything that you are building in your business and creating this massive campaign that is your brand and putting it out in the world. So, and I just want to scroll down here to kind of close out, who is this for? What am I doing this for? Well, my career has been working in advertising and marketing design for 25 years, and now branding design also for 25 years. And I've created so many different logos and ads and campaigns and trade show things and you name it, that that was a lot of the corporate world. But I know that there are people who need these pieces, who need this consistency, who need this growth, because that is foundational for the next steps of your journey. And when you hit the point in your business that things are a struggle, that you're not getting picked up, that people don't pay attention, that they're not really connecting with you, that's when you need this. And at that point, it might be too late. So when you're listening to this, think that through. When will you be at that point? And do you want to go ahead and start systemizing and thinking about it, at least in My Power Story, so that you have something, a foundation to build from? And I like to say, it's for any of you, you consultants, you business owners, CEOs, even marketing teams, right? You need this stuff. You need the strategy. You need the thinking. You need somebody who understands how this stuff applies in all of the different ways, and not just how it applies, but the concept of how perception works between color, typeface, logos, shapes, people, right? All of this stuff creates an image, a perception in your audience, and understanding how that perception lands, how it processes through the brain, that happens to be my strong suit. So if you have a business, a brand, a project, a marketing campaign, something that you're working on, and you have an idea about what you want, which is most people that I work with, right? You've all got an idea of what you want, but maybe no idea how to start or where to start, or it's sort of nebulous up there. In branding, we say that you can't read the label from inside the bottle. And that's so true, because we know what we know, but we don't know how to like express it sometimes, and how to share with others what we want and how to get there. And that's where this process really, My Power Story is fantastic for getting the words, the images, the ideas out of your head and having something to build from. You also need the results of what you're doing to be well received. And you want to include a bit of creative flair for attention. Creative flair simply meaning a color or a splash of something, or something that grabs attention. That's it. It doesn't have to be overwhelming and crazy. It doesn't, your brand doesn't have to look like a rave, but it's something that is different. It sets you apart, because if you look the same, if you feel the same, then the customers cannot tell between you and anybody else offering a similar service. It becomes sort of grayed out in their perception. This is simply how our brains work. It's kind of funny that way. So we have to have something that stands out, and creative flair is the best way to just have some pops of something that gets attention. And that attention grows attraction for your business, because attention, it's sort of that Neanderthal brain. A little pop of attention draws attraction. And without attention, without attraction, there is no business, because you'll never make a sale. So those little pops of creative flair actually create dramatic increases in business. And along the way, you also want to be real, right? You need to be authentic these days. You need to feel like you're not putting up a huge fake wall. You also need to look good. And that has a huge perception on your reputation, what you're doing and how you're doing it. So, all total, this is the process. This is the method that I've learned, I've picked up, I've tweaked, I've put together with the, $500 million businesses, particularly in pharma, particularly in software. This is what they do to build their tribes, their community, their followers, their sales, and people who just love what they're doing. They come up with a story, they come up with the idea, the foundation, and then they do the research to make sure that nobody else is doing something exactly like that. And then they systemize it all. So it all is so familiar, it just feels right. And that's what we want to do for you, is systemize, make things feel right, get you, there we go, get you the customers that you need, the leads that you need, the sales that you need. And we start by figuring out your story. We start by figuring out your customers, your action goals, your tasks, and your story. And all of those things become a foundation for growth, a foundation for the power of your brand, the power of your business. And they find expression in every moment of marketing, every moment of just talking with anybody else and identifying them. So that's the entire structure for Think Tank Creative. That's what we do. And there's more parts to it, obviously, because everything has 10,000 parts, but that's it. It's 3 simple steps if you're interested in going from the basic all the way up to the huge corporate package and seeing, that kind of growth and that kind of consistency. That's what we do. If you have questions, like, follow, add a comment below, share this video with somebody that you think needs it. If their business is hitting that plateau, that stagnancy point, that they need some transformation, they need some change to be able to hit the next level of business, I will tell you, branding is the tool. This tool is meant to change perception, to shape perception, to influence perception about how people feel about your business, your brand, and everything you're doing. So thank you so much. I am Jeremy Tank, and I hope you have a fabulous rest of your day. Thanks.